and welcome to the latest Anfield Aftermath. Myself, James and Jake have just watched the game against Wolves. I might get this name wrong, but I think first off, hope that Patricio's doing okay. Went off with a nasty head collision, so before I get into any football, obviously it's a major issue, so hopefully that pulls through because it's a pretty serious one, so hopefully he is doing okay and makes a speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
Yep. I will say I don't actually know how to say his first name, so if either one of you could help me out with that.
Rui Patricio.
Well, Rui, get well soon, buddy.
Following that, I guess we'll open with the Wolves discussion. It does raise some points about the concussion sub rule, but I'm sure we'll get into that later. We'll start off with the actual performance at Wolves. Does anyone want to kick it off?
I can. Go on, Jake. You look on the edge of your seat. No,
I can say something, but it's a general overview. So if you've got something, go for it.
Overall, I mean, it was fairly what I expected. To be honest with you, it was a lot of fair bit of possession and not really. There was a handful of good chances that they didn't take, which is very, very much like Liverpool of late. But they did actually manage to get that one breakthrough through. Other than that, I wouldn't say it was a overly convincing performance. It was a very sort of rugged performance, but it was a very get over the line no matter what performance. Which is fine because normally they've played like that recently and lost, so that's.
Was a bit of a cagey affair, though, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they had a really, really good spell, didn't score. Wolves seemed to be on top, and and the game quickly changed.
Do you think probably one of the bigger talking points of the game was very early on, Nelson Semedo had a very good claim for a penalty. First of all, do you think it was a penalty?
I would say if that was us, I'd be arguing for it to be given.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I feel like
it looks like a follow through from Alisson just because he failed.
It's strange, really. I mean, it shouldn't really be the case because obviously Liverpool got a penalty and the quickest penalty I've ever seen in the Champions League final against Tottenham. But it seems to be a case of quite often, very very early on in a game, you'll have like a few incidents like that, and they seem to be just because the game's getting going, you seem to just let them off. Oh, he's just made a bit of a boo-boo, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, wasn't. I mean, obviously, Alisson didn't mean it. I don't think he went in with any intent, but it was clumsy, and I think he's got away with it there.
Just on Alisson's general performance, don't know what you felt about it, but I thought it was a bit of a shaky game for Alisson. He didn't have much to do in terms of making saves, but some of his decisions with clearing balls out the box and stuff just seemed a bit
I did think that exact thing where he seemed to fly out and madly punch it away when I think he could have quite easily caught it, and it didn't seem to be his most confident of selves today, Alisson.
No, overall he was shaky, but there was times when he'd make saves and he'd look as calm as ever, and it's just weird that he can flick between the two within a matter of seconds.
Do you think if that had been a penalty and they'd have scored and gone 1-0 up in the first couple of minutes, do you think it would have all fallen apart based on Liverpool's?
Yeah, it would have been Operation Crumble. I don't think. Yeah. Liverpool are no longer the mentality monsters.
I don't think it would have led to a higher scoreline. I think it just would have been a loss. I think we would have been able to at least defend it, but I don't think we would have pulled one back.
Defend the loss.
The one goal.
It's okay, guys. I mean, is that what we've come down to? It's okay, guys. We're only losing by one.
Well, okay, defend the goal difference then.
I mean, I'll be honest, the goal difference doesn't mean much at this point either.
Not really, but, at times like this, because we're now 6 because Everton's goal difference is knackered as well. So, it could. This season's so close that the top 4 could literally, or top 5 even, could even be determined by goal difference, I think.
Still a long way to go.
It's still a long way to go, but I think it is that close. If it carries on the way it's been going.
I think we're, 5 points off? Top 4 now? that right?
I think less. I think
Chelsea. I think it's 5 off Chelsea.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of points to play for, but obviously, I mean, at the moment, I can't really worry about it. I mean, I still feel top 4's gone. I'll just take any points Liverpool can get the little mitts on.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like top 4's gone. If they somehow salvage it, then I'll consider that a success for this season. But by no means do I expect them to. I feel like it's a little bit out of reach now.
Because if you look there, I mean, you can see Everton. I'm trying to think who's above. You can see Everton dropping points. Obviously, West Ham have dropped points. Chelsea did actually. They drew, didn't they? Chelsea. But I mean, you still need Chelsea to lose more points than what I think they will.
Yeah, still undefeated too. So.
And that's still dependent on Liverpool actually performing a hell of a lot better than what they have for this whole year of 2021. So.
Yeah, I will say today's performance hasn't put any sort of fears to rest for me. It was not a convincing win at all.
No.
Still very much the same problems, particularly with Sadio Mane. Don't know if anyone's got anything to say on him, but I just feel like I don't know what's happened to him this season, but he's dropped right off.
Well, there's that early attempt or chance on it where he was 1-on-1. He decided to take it round to Ruby Patricio, but obviously then lost composure and just tried to shoot. I don't know why.
There's a couple of mistakes there. Like, one, he probably should have just took the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Before, obviously, he made the decision he was going to go around the keeper, which, fair enough. That was his first mistake, but he had to go. He did it, but ended up too wide for the shot, and then, as you say, lost all composure and just took the shot anyway. When
defenders
he had Jota there, he could have passed to Jota, and then Jota would have was in a way better position to take the shot on. It was just poor decision making, which you don't expect from Mane. Not the kind of thing we'd see from him.
I mean, granted, he's sort of gone under the radar because Bobby's took a lot of the flack for underperforming this season. Probably because he underperformed last season as well, but Mane was actually okay. Obviously they won the league, so I think pretty much most was forgiven. But Mane really hasn't been at it this season at all. I can't think of the start of the season, but pretty much ever since he came back from having coronas, he's not been there at all. It's like it's fine. It's fine, I just want to get to bed.
It's weird though, because sometimes when you go to ask questions about him, there's been so many times when people have started to talk about him, and then there's been a game, he's been really bad, and then Salah scored, and then he's scored a few seconds or minutes later. It's really weird. It's like he's switching it off on purpose.
I will say, the last 3 games, Mane's been involved in moments where, in all 3 games, the commentators have said, if he'd gone down there, that probably would have been a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder whether, in a way, it's a credit to Mane's personality in that he doesn't choose to go down. I think it's an issue personally with the way the game is refereed, in that if you're not going to give penalties for challenges in the box if the player doesn't go down, then you can't moan when players dive, because they basically have to go down if they want to get anything. But I also will say, is it just a case that Mane wants the goals for himself, and in those moments, he doesn't go down because Mo's taking that penalty? We all know that's happening.
Are you owning on me?
I just wonder.
I thought that was one of those ridiculous. I was like, one of the things, if I go down here, Mo's going to take this and get another goal on me. To be fair, I'd maybe think this if maybe they were both in the Golden Boot race, and it might be a bit of competition. But Mane's been so far off the pace. Even if he took every Liverpool penalty from now to the end of the season, I still don't think he'd catch Salah.
Neither do I, based on the fact that I don't think I've ever seen him take a penalty, so I don't worry about him taking the penalty for a start.
I don't even think it's a case of he knows if they get a pen that Salah will score. I think he genuinely just believes that if he doesn't go down, he can somehow work his way into a goal.
I don't think it's a case of like he doesn't want Mo to score or whatever. I just think it's a case of he wants to score more than like because he's not getting that goal if the penalty. It's like he just wants the goal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's convincing himself that he can get it, even if like, in fact, he might see it more likely because if the defender goes to make a challenge and it ends up being what would be deemed as a pen if he went down, chances are the defender's on the floor, but he'd still be up.
Yeah.
So
good talk about. Want to say, I mean, no complaints with the team sheet.
No, I think it's the team we've all called, isn't it, from last week?
Yeah, we're just leaving it how it was for the Champions League game, which is fine. Fabinho back in midfield, which was fab.
What did you think of Thiago's performance?
It was odd. I mean, it was strange because he was putting in more tackles than I would have liked them to.
Yeah.
And it seemed odd because he had Fabinho behind him. And in the Champions League game, that means Fabinho was tidying up most of that, so he was free to more go forward and link up more. But in this game, he seemed to have more of a second sort of defensive midfielder type role, and he was putting in. And I don't trust him at all when he started tackling. Scares the hell out of me.
it was weird though, because like there'd be times when he'd make awful challenges, but then there'd be times he'd make alright ones, and then he'd play good passes and stuff. Like I can't even name any off the top of my head, but I just remember thinking that was good.
Good.
I feel like it was an odd one. It wasn't, because obviously with Fabinho, like we saw in the Champions League game, with Fabinho being back in midfield, it brought like a new Thiago out, and I feel like we definitely didn't see that tonight. It was like he reverted back to what we've been seeing, which frankly hasn't been good enough for someone of his calibre. So yeah, I don't know. I was a bit underwhelmed with his performance, I'll say.
I was surprised at his surprise that he was being subbed off.
Yeah, me too. Especially on a yellow.
Yeah. I was like, you're on a yellow and you keep making these challenges. What?
I know.
What do you think?
It was definitely coming.
Yeah,
I think it was especially.
Yeah,
I mean,
with the game at 1-0 away from home, it's just like you can't take a chance of going down to 10 men.
Even we can be exposed by even like a free kick at the moment. So when you're making those like defensive challenges in midfield, and they manage to get just close enough to like 30 yards, 20 to 30 yards, and you get a free kick, that could turn the game. So
do you want to talk about the goal that I don't think anyone thought was in? Like I say, it came out of nowhere.
It was a true goal from the front three, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, great team goal.
Yeah.
Anyone claiming that Mo is greedy can go and rewatch that, because all day he could have took that in one-on-one with the keeper if he wanted to. He's got the pace and he's got the mentality that you would expect Mo to go and do that, and he didn't. So credit to him. He played it back into Mane, who then again played it back into Jota, who arguably was in the best position for it. Probably could have hit it better, but it doesn't matter. It took the deflection off the keeper.
I think it was a bit of a mishit, but I mean, ultimately he hit a shot, got it on target, and hit it low, and had enough power on it that it went past the keeper, and that's what.
I think the fact that it was such a weird shot meant that it was a goal. I think he thought it was going to go the other way.
I think initially. I think he was I think he was aiming for the far right corner, if I'm brutally honest, and he sort of mishit it and went bottom left.
Yeah, but I think that's what made it a goal. I think the miss hit got us it.
Right, next training session, front three. Work on miss-hitting the ball, but I think it'd still be on target.
Mane's been doing that quite a bit, to be fair.
James, right. FishStakes on FIFA. Right, get your character in on training. Have him sort of do reverse target practice for us, and then we'll be golden.
Reverse target practice. So what? Miss the target? Is that what you're asking my player to do?
No, hit the target, but not
but not in the way intended.
Margin of error. So within the frame of a goal.
Yeah. So say like you're aiming for top right bins. Have him put it bottom left every time, and then the goals will fly in.
Okay.
Right.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. So go check that out on our channel. By the way, it's great fun. Cheers. So, goal winning right before half time, very unexpected goal because I think
very unexpected because we don't score in the first half anymore. So
no,
it was mind blowing. Really.
I mean, we hardly score at all, full stop. So, but I feel like Liverpool had a spell of maybe 10 to 15 minutes where they looked like they could have, but obviously they didn't because they don't score. Then Wolves were like picking up the pace. Wolves had a good run of play, and then out of nowhere, that was that little link up, and then right before half time, it was a goal where all of us were sort of looking at it going, I just looked in for, oh, I hit the side net. And then he sort of goes away, half celebrating. I'm like, really? And I listen to the commentators, just scored. Really? And I looked at it, I was like, no, the ball is in the goal, it didn't hit the side net. So yeah,
I thought it went wide, but I always wait for the ball to when it hits the back of the net bounce up. And I looked.
Obviously, like
I was like, thank Christ.
Like it also bounces up if it hits the boards at the back.
Yeah, but you can usually
it done. It was like
you can usually tell because it would bounce up earlier. It's a very fine margin.
And because he's from he came from Wolves. He didn't really celebrate, and because he didn't really celebrate, I was in two minds thinking: is he not celebrating on purpose, or is he not celebrating because he think this is going to be called for offside or something?
I think he forgot a little bit because I remember watching.
He forgot he scored.
I remember he sort of like ran to celebrate and then went, "Oh wait, I can't." I think he was just happy to score a goal for us in this current moment, but then realised who he's up against, and it was his ex-team.
I think he scored. He was going to run away to celebrate, and then he was just sort of like that. Tobey Maguire, was it Spider-Man, little cheeky face?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I'm trying to think. Second half. One thing I wanted to say, there was a slight moment where in the box Trent gave someone a slight push.
Yep.
And it is I don't think that was a penalty. I think the earlier one was, but I feel like that was far. There was so little in that. I would have felt quite harshly done by if that was given as a penalty. But I would have understood on the balance of things because I feel like the Alisson incident was a penalty, but I don't think that was. It was a sort of a half shout, but I mean, he did put a hand on him to give him a nudge, but then he sort of collapsed like he was a rag doll.
Yeah, it's one of them.
I do. Yeah,
there was probably minimum contact, and he's just gone down. He's felt the hand on him and gone down, hoping to get something. Which is.
So yeah,
I think echoes Manny not going down. Kind of thing I'm talking about is like if you go down you get a penalty, if you stay up you don't.
Must admit, don't think it was a great second half overall. I think we all said it where Wolves were getting into the game more and more, and I honestly thought because they were losing they would have to chase the game, we should open it up more for Liverpool, which is what I thought. For so often teams have just defended with like 2 banks of 4 against Liverpool, and Liverpool haven't been able to break them down. That's what's happened at Anfield time and time again recently. And I thought that's what Wolves are going to be like today. And I thought now that Liverpool have actually got a goal, Wolves have to open up and chase it. But actually it sort of swung and all of a sudden Liverpool were under pressure when I thought actually the game will open up and Liverpool were able to counter and play a lot more their stuff. But it didn't really go that way. They were sort of losing the midfield battle a bit more and more. And obviously Thiago was on the yellow and looking a bit worrying. So I'm glad the subs were made to bring on Milner and Keita. So very good. And Gini got a bit of a rare rest right ahead of an international break, so they didn't need to rest him for anything. But yeah, he actually got a rest for once, a bit of a break. Because I can't remember the last time he came off, to be honest. He's probably come off sometime recently.
He did come off against Leipzig.
He just seems to play perpetually. I mean, he's like,
yeah.
Now that I think Bobby's been out, off the top of my head, I literally think he's the one player who I don't think has had an injury this year. I don't think Robbo's missed a match, but he was injured on international duty very briefly.
Are you counting like COVID as injury though?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to say missed a match. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Robbo's the only one. Ginny and Robbo.
Yeah, because Bobby was for the longest time, but now he's
Van Dijk, oh no.
He's probably getting his his teeth whitened or something, Bobby.
Yeah, what happened to Bobby? I guess that was another training thing.
Yeah.
Injuries.
So right. So yeah, I think the substitutes helped. Got a bit more control in the game. Not really much going on though. I think there's a few half chances. I think one of the biggest talking points was when Mo was through and he was called just offside. Put the ball in the back of the net. Looked like a very sort of classic Liverpool Mo goal. Gutted that it was offside and it was a right call. It was offside, but that was also the incident that got Patricio injured.
That was an assist from Ox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention on his performance because obviously came on very late and was only on. Well, actually, he was on for quite a while with the injury time, but was only on for a little bit. And I thought he got himself involved. Yeah, he got himself involved. He played. He looked lively.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna say he looked lively. Had a bit of zip. I mean, I was gonna say I didn't say it in the chat, but he would have been my final sub, and I would have taken off one of the front three, and it probably would have been Mane.
Yeah, I agree
for him, and I would have said to him like, play in the front three, but can you put a shift in midfield to help see this out? That's what I would have said to him.
I think at that point, because obviously Mo's shot didn't come till after Ox had come on. I think Jota had the only shots we had on target all game, so to bring him off was a bit of an odd one because at 1-0. The game is still totally in a balance. Mane was having a shocking game, so I was surprised to see Jota coming off. But Ox looked good, so that's a good sign.
Klopp doesn't want Jota to play a full 90 minutes yet after he's come back from injury, but at the same time, he'd already played 90 by then. So, I mean, granted, it wasn't an extra 10 minutes, because obviously what happened, but it kind of was.
I mean, in a way. I understand he's just back from injury, but I feel like if you're like a professional footballer with like the best like medical staff in the world that seemingly keep breaking players in training, I mean, surely if you've gone on that long, you can kick a ball around for another 10 minutes. But okay.
He also doesn't show any signs of actually wanting to go off or struggling at all.
No, I mean,
if you watch him,
I was glad it wasn't Mo because that would have caused a right ruckus. He would have hated to have come off.
Got some stuff to say on that, but we'll get through this game first. Any standout performances?
I really struggled with this, to be honest with you.
I thought Trent was alright. Thought Salah looked okay.
For me,
I
think Robbo was amazing tonight. Yeah, I think he done Traore so many times, which that is so difficult to do because Traore is one hell of a player.
He got done in early on, but then he learned.
Yeah, Robbo had him. Yeah, so I was well impressed with Robbo. Like the amount of times he beat him in pace, like we're talking pace with Traore, it's insane, man. Granted, he started ahead of him because he was further back, but like not many defenders can do that.
Look at the size difference between them as well.
Yeah, he played it well. He used his body well to draw in fouls and that because you're not going to beat him in strength. So force him to foul you.
I will say,
so yeah, I thought he was brilliant.
Thinking back, I'm casting my mind over now on over who I think I'd give man of the match to. I don't even literally think I can remember seeing Kabak on the pitch.
No, but I do remember.
Thinking back, was he actually playing? He was playing. Can't remember him playing.
There was. I can't remember who it was for Wolves, but someone broke on a counter. It was Fabio Silva that put the ball over the top. Someone broke and they were basically 1-on-1 in a counter, and Kabak managed to get back and intercept. And that was probably like I was thinking the whole game. Kabak is not doing anything for me. He's still a worry. And then that happened, and I was like, fair play. He hasn't been that involved, but that was a key moment, and he delivered. So.
I can't remember who that was now, but yeah, I remember the moment. He didn't even. I don't even think he touched the ball, but he just did enough to put him off.
I will say, Nat Phillips, another solid shift from him and great performance again. Some key stuff. I'm distracted because news about Rui Patricio has just come in, and he is conscious at the moment, so that's good.
Oh, good. Thank Christ.
So yeah, Nat Phillips, solid game from him again. That's good to see. For me, he's the first choice when it comes to centre backs at the moment. Though I will say we've got to keep the Nat and Kabak partnership going as long as possible to get them comfortable.
Use each other.
Yeah, I actually think
that's the way.
Because there was a mad one when Kabak was first signed, and I think it was the Everton game where I think it was at that point, if Henderson didn't get injured, they would have been the longest serving centre back partnerships. So I actually think now Phillips, I presume Phillips and off the top of my head, and Kabak might be overtaking that now. Or maybe one more game, and
they must be close, if not, because I feel like
Fab's
see something about it, because I follow not enough pages to put out those stats.
I mean, keep playing them. They've had a couple of clean sheets now. Keep playing them.
The thing is about them is, like, I mean, obviously not to the degree of other pairings that we have, but Kabak is pretty quick for a defender. And Phillips is just all around good, so it's kind of like this. It's kind of like the speed pairing we've got with Verge and Joe, but on a less experienced scale.
Did either of you see that photoshopped image of Nat Phillips with Verge's hair?
Yeah, I think I did see that.
Oh yeah,
that was a scary image. That I said he reminds me a bit of Sammy Hippier. No. Hippier was never that quick, but he won a lot of headers, looked very strong in the box, and I mean, I think there was that one moment where there was a bit of a actually I think it might have been the penalty incident where there was maybe a bit of miscommunication where Nat tried to header it and Alisson came out for it, and they both sort of collided a little bit at the same time with it. That might have been It might have been the first penalty incident, but I'm not too sure. But other than that, I think it's fine. For lack of someone springing to mind, I will also go with Robbo for man of the match. I don't actually know. We got man of the match.
No, me neither. But I'd give it to Robbo.
I can find out.
Yeah. I'll go Robbo. And I want to say, so Ginny, first of all, I don't know if you guys have heard about Barcelona's sort of new stance on signings in general. They're trying to make money because allegedly they want to sign Haaland. Whether or not that happens, we'll see. But it means a couple of things that sort of affect us. One, it looks like they don't want Wijnaldum anymore. This is if, Spanish press is to be believed. They don't want Wijnaldum anymore. And two, they're looking to sell Coutinho because they need to make money for their target, which is Haaland. So first of all, I mean, look, it's not going to happen, but would you take Coutinho back?
Yes.
I'd take him back.
I mean, I've said this back numerous times. I absolutely would. I mean, I think
obviously as long as he's not too pricey. If they try and sell him back to us for 145 million, I'd say no.
Nah, but if we get 30, go on then.
30 quid, yeah.
I feel like he played the best
hang on, sorry, Craig. Let me just interrupt you really quick. Imagine would it be possible that we would buy back Coutinho before they finish paying for him? Because they still owe us for Coutinho. They still owe us, what is it, 20 mil? We could get it for free.
We could be like, look, we'll call it quits.
Call it quits, yeah, exactly.
Scrap the 20 million that you've got left. Use that as we'll buy him back. Imagine that.
Brilliant.
That could be a solid
Get on the phone,
club. Yeah. Top tips coming from FishStakes, straight to Klopp's inbox. I agree. I mean, I think Coutinho looked like, one of the best players in the world at times under Klopp, and he played the best form. He was playing the best football of his life under Klopp in this Liverpool team. So yeah, I'd absolutely have him back. Potentially, I'd have him back now and probably put him on the left of the front three and give Mane a bloody week in bed. And, I mean, actually, Mane can go have a cuddle with Bobby in bed and we'll play Jota, Coutinho and Salah up front. Yeah, I would absolutely take Coutinho back, depending on cost. I think he's a cracking player. I can see him working again. Obviously, we know he worked in this Liverpool team. I did also
arguably the kind of player right now that we might need.
Creative
people would say. So,
yeah. So I will say, going back to Gini, I did see a similar story where apparently now that Barcelona have cooled their interest in signing him, that his priority now is getting the contract sorted out with Liverpool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, I know one was put on the table, but now that maybe there might be wiggle room for them to maybe find a middle ground on this now.
Yeah, I would hope so, because I'd like him to stay.
Especially since, as we said earlier, I think he's now up in our one uninjured player.
Yeah, he's this year,
along with Robbo. So please do, because there's been so many times where we've been like, we just need a midfielder, but he's thankfully always been there.
Yeah.
I have since read that apparently apparently Patricio is okay. He can remember the incident. So there's nothing.
Yeah, James got the notification before saying he was conscious.
Good. Good to hear.
So on Wijnaldum, obviously due to circumstances with our injuries and whatnot, it's most of the time, unless Milner's playing now, we're going out with Wijnaldum as captain. Are you guys happy with that?
I don't know, really.
Yeah.
Is the answer to that.
I'd say yeah, on the basis of I want him to stay. I know the team voted on the pecking order and settled on Henderson, Millie vice captain, then Verge, then Wijnaldum. And I think he is vice captain for his country as well, so I think I'm happy with it. Obviously, if I could go back and change that decision now, I'd probably give it to Salah. If none of them are on the pitch, I'd hope Salah gets it, to be honest. But I think it may end going to Trent, but I'd definitely give it to Salah. I'm happy with the decision on the basis of I want him to stay, and I feel like at this point in the season, with 9 games left or whatever, if you go, by the way, you're no longer fourth captain, well, that's going to be like the final nail in that coffin, isn't it?
My issue with it was that, and obviously things maybe have changed now because of the situation with Barcelona, but if we were to go back just a couple of months, it might have even been 1 month, can't remember how recent it was. Obviously, Wijnaldum was still in this situation where we were all assuming he's going at the end of the season. His decision's pretty much made, he's going to Barcelona. Again, it was decided, the pecking order, at the start of the season, so no arguments with that. We picked him to be fourth choice. But then there was the incident where Trent got captaincy, and Mo was upset about it. Vocally upset about it. He said himself in an interview it wasn't any sort of agent trying to stir up stuff. It was Mo himself vocally upset about it. I feel like at that point you've got this player in Wijnaldum who has loyalty to the club questionable because he seems pretty set on leaving and going to Barcelona. Mo Salah already visibly annoyed being taken off by Klopp. It's happened twice now. We've seen him come off early and we've seen him be upset about it. Then we've had him vocally annoyed in interviews about not getting captaincy. My argument is just, why not just give him captaincy? Surely at this point, with everything going on, with the unsureness over Bobby's performances and Mane's performances, surely you just want to keep this guy happy. How hard is it to just give him the armband?
I suppose there's probably 2 reasons. The first one probably being that giving captaincy to an attacker is not a common thing, really. Well, it is, but people would prefer to give it to the further back players. Because, defenders typically get it, then midfielders, then attackers. Since they can see most of the game. But also, I'd still try them out. Because obviously, like, when you look at both of them at like face value, one of them is already a vice captain for the national team, one of them isn't. So you'd be like, okay, we'll give it to this guy. But at the times when he's not there, because currently he's our only captain, if he's off and Milner's not on, when the times that he's not there, give it to Salah and just see what he's like, because he obviously wants it, he's passionate for it. It could encourage
certainly try
motivation.
To create a scenario where it can happen.
Like, for example, they could do a game where they rest him and Keita starts instead of him, and then for that game, Salah could be given captaincy.
But how annoyed would Ginny be to not have it? Like, realistically, if Klopp said, "Look, we're gonna give the armband to Mo," like, do you think Ginny's gonna walk out and go to Barcelona? Because I don't.
No, but he still might.
I don't think it matters to him. Like, I don't think, like, when you've got a player that has come out in an interview and is annoyed about it, to the point where he's saying himself that he was upset he wasn't given captaincy. He's your top goal scorer, has been in contention for the Golden Boot every season that he's been here. Won it, twice? Is in contention for his third one now. Top scorer in the league. Is undeniably the team's biggest asset. I mean, I feel like what you're saying there about, like, midfielders being more commonly getting it. For me, like, you don't have to be a commanding captain. Like, in terms of presence on the field, I feel like Mane and Van Dijk are two of the biggest ones where, like, just by them being on the field, it changes the entire team's mentality. Like, if you take Salah away, you lose a lot. So, and I feel like giving him the captaincy, giving him the armband, would boost him and in turn boost the team. And I just feel like right now, with the situation we're in, why not just keep him happy? And I don't honestly think, if you spoke to Ginny about it, I don't think he'd be upset at having it taken off him.
No, I mean, I think though, also, I mean, when I think the order was decided, I'm pretty sure it went to the team as a whole. So I don't think it would be necessarily a case. I mean, maybe you could speak to Gini first and say, I want to do a revote for captaincy, and then put it to the team. Because I feel like if he's if the team themselves have democratically picked the captains, for then to Klopp to go above that and just say, actually, no, it's Mo. Sort of going back on his philosophy a bit. And again, depending on what happens with Wijnaldum, if he chooses to stay, it may be something else, because, I mean, because obviously Milner isn't getting any younger, so, I mean, I suspect, I don't know what will happen. I mean, I don't know when his contract's up, but I can't see him playing that much next year.
No.
Well, he also wants to go back to Leeds, doesn't he? Before he retires.
I mean, granted the clubs he's been at, he'd probably want to go back to about 8 clubs, wouldn't he? I mean, granted, he may go on for a while, but if he went in summer, I'd be sad, because he's been very, very good for Liverpool, but also I wouldn't be particularly surprised because he's getting on. I feel like if he left, obviously, do you just go Henderson, Van Dijk, or do you have another vote?
If it was up to me, I'd just keep the same order, but put Salah on at Ginny's place at the moment, unless we can test him out beforehand. Like, I wouldn't want to just give someone it on, like, as a be all and end all, just to try and keep them happy. I would want to test them first, give them the opportunity to be like, right, okay, could be on the list now. Here you go.
I'd certainly say he's earned it though. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, but it's more about the ability, though, because what happens if it ends up really badly, and then he's like the captain for the whole season?
But how bad can it go?
Well, I mean,
I tell you what. I mean, like, maybe for instance,
we haven't experienced it.
Take Henderson was still out, and you come to like one of the Champions League games, and you say to him, "No, want you to lead the players out today." One, I think he would put in a phenomenal shift, and two, you could say to him, "Right, we're giving it a go. Nothing's for certain, but you've earned this. It's a Champions League night. Lead the team out." And I think he'd appreciate that, and also wouldn't hate it if it didn't pan out and it went back to whatever.
I wouldn't want to do it if it was an important game and we had Hendo and Millie. Verge, maybe. I wouldn't mind it.
No one's going to get it over Hendo, but...
Yeah, you don't.
I would definitely...
They'll give us the one over Hendo.
I just think he's earned it. Personally. I think it deserves to go. I mean, like, there's not many... Alex, I'll say this. Mo Salah will probably go down 10, 20 years from now, like, as the best ever number 11 for Liverpool. Like, that number is going to be remembered as Mo Salah forever. I'll wager and say he's a Liverpool legend, and he's going to be forever. He's going to be named when people talk about one of the greats to ever play for the club. And it would be a massive shame if he ends up leaving here one day without ever having the opportunity to wear that armband. Because in my eyes, he's done more than enough to have a go.
He has worn it once, hasn't he? I'm sure I've seen him on a match with it on him at one point. Not this season, obviously, but
I can't recall the time. But I won't definitively say no.
I was going to say one thing I did want to mention, which I guess sort of leads us to predictions and stuff, was so it's obviously it's March the 15th at time of recording, Monday. So
it is.
The weekend coming up is FA Cup fixtures. Liverpool in the FA Cup because Klopp hates being in the cups, in the domestic cups.
I mean, right now it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Imagine if we got injured in that.
And then I think it's internationals, so I believe. Also Champions League draw this Friday. Yes. So I believe so far the teams that are through are, PSG, Dortmund, Porto and Liverpool. With I think the other teams to be decided tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yeah.
So Champions League draw, obviously that's a big thing. But next game is Arsenal away, I think, on the 4th of April.
Yeah.
I think, which is what day is the 4th of April? That is a Sunday. Oh, that's Sunday of Easter weekend, actually. And then I think the next round of the Champions League will be played on the Tuesday and Wednesday. So if Liverpool playing on the Sunday, hopefully they will get the Wednesday slot in the Champions League. So we've got a bit of a break now. I know when Henderson first got injured and he had it in the Everton game and he had his op, it was the thought of he's out until at least after the international break. But nothing has been said since. So there's... Granted, so Liverpool's next game now is not until 2 weeks on Sunday and one Monday. So I feel like there's a chance we could see him back for the Champions League.
Possibly. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, it does depend how things are going. I don't...
We're not
hopefully
seeing
he'd want
any
to be back
fitness tracker or anything like that.
Well, we probably won't. But obviously... Maybe if you saw anyone, might see maybe Van Dijk, maybe for a couple of games coming the end of the season, because I feel like he's probably further ahead than Joe Gomez in his recovery.
I feel like even if he's fit, depending on when he's fit, they might just.
I mean, there might not be a point.
They might just still keep.
If there's nothing to play for in the league and the Champions League is over, then I wouldn't bother playing him.
No,
but if there's still stuff to play for, you might see him. I'd at least hope that Liverpool are still in with a shout in the Champions League and Henderson is back for the second round.
One thing I will say is if he is fit and he does come back, don't put him in defence. Just keep Kabak and keep Phillips. Put him in midfield.
Absolutely. Put him and Fabinho in midfield. That's like the ultimate comfort blanket over Nat Phillips and Kabak.
And also Trent, to be honest, I think.
Henderson puts in a huge shift to help Trent out defensively. So, yeah, please, I mean, who would be your midfield three? I'll say that quickly. Henderson's back.
I honestly don't know, because...
I don't.
For me, like, Fabinho has to be in it, because we've seen the difference it makes when he goes into midfield.
He's definitely CDM.
I find it hard to say I mean, it's like you can't leave your captain outright, and obviously also Hendo is a huge part of team morale, so he kind of is necessary. But like, it's tough. It's
You're
really
either
tough because then
benching
that leaves you
Wijnaldum or
with
Thiago.
I'll put it this way: playing in the Champions League, I'd play Fabinho, Henderson, and Thiago.
Yeah,
I think I will put Thiago in there just for the
in the league. Depending on what's going on, I feel like Henderson, Fabinho, and Wijnaldum is a bit too defensive, and I don't think it's creative enough. So I'd probably throw Naby in instead.
Yeah, I was gonna say Keita's in with a shout. That's the other thing. Like, it's actually tough. We've got too many in midfield.
We don't.
No,
flipping hell, there was a time when we had none.
Because imagine if, like, at like the 60th minute, Thiago gets injured, and like you get Keita in to replace him. It's perfectly fine at that point.
I mean,
yeah, but don't forget, we've also got Ox. We've also got Shaqiri. Like, it's not just Keita. Like, Shaqiri plays well every time he comes on. Ox today, we've seen him explode.
To be fair, so does Jones.
To pseudo forwards, aren't they?
Curtis Jones as well is another one. Like, all of these players are in with a shot. Like, you know, an in-form Ox today was the game, the kind of game where you needed Ox. Obviously, he's not in form because of his injury. He hasn't had enough time. It'd be too early to be giving him like mad minutes out there. But like, it was the kind of game where had he been in form, I'd have been like, get Ox on. Like, when you're struggling in front of goal, he offers that different dynamic. Keita has been in form every time he's played. Struggles with injury again, though. That's the only issue with him.
Would you drop Mane for Ox?
No, because I don't like Ox on the wing. Unless you put Jota on the wing and put Ox down the middle. But then I'm talking about a front three where Bobby's not even included. So I don't know.
I think most people are, to be
because at the moment they're not really midfield. I know they are technically midfielders, but that's not the way they're playing at the moment. They're being like pseudo forwards. Every time I've seen...
Yeah, but Ox is absolutely a midfielder. Like, he's being played as a forward because Klopp doesn't know what else to do with him right now because we're overrun with midfielders. But, like, I mean, Ox... I don't know what to do with Ox because it feels like there just isn't the room for him. But, like, I want him because he's the kind of player where he's got something different. And when you need something different, you can be like, get him on.
I mean, you do need a squad.
You do, but we need money for if we're gonna make this centre back, because I'm not convinced that Kabak will be here next season. I'll be honest.
Am I?
Which would mean we need to go out and buy someone. So we're gonna need to make some money back somewhere, which means some players are gonna have to go. Probably Origi, and then you're looking at Shaqiri or Ox, I would say. And it'll be a shame to lose them, but I can see it coming.
I think there's a chance Naby could go. I mean, I'd rather lose Ox over Naby.
Yeah,
but also Naby's injury record.
No, I don't think they'll get rid
of
Naby. I think they'll stick with him.
And then obviously, like, come next season, we have to. I mean, we've got a Taki to throw into the mix.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about him as well. I will say, by the way, on the subject of transfers, I'm guessing neither of you have heard because this sort of only broke today. And again, it's rumours, but apparently it's expected that Liverpool will put in an offer for Paulo Dybala of Juventus. So I don't know if any of you guys know much about him.
No.
I know his name.
So he's a forward. Yeah. He's a forward for Juve. He's sort of like a club favourite. However, having kind of a poor season this season, so I don't know. Also, 27, so not really sure how the age things work in there. Again, is only a rumour, but what thoughts and feelings on that? If it was to happen?
I'm gonna be honest. If I knew a bit more about him, I'd probably give you more thoughts and feelings. But I haven't really. I know his name.
Will he play in the middle?
I think he's got 3 goals this season, 2 in Serie A and 1 in the Champions League. But you are also talking about someone playing next to Ronaldo, who's obviously going to soak up all the goals there.
Yeah.
He is kind of a club favourite player. It seems weird timing to me because he's not. It's, you would assume it'll be someone that'll come in as a replacement for Bobby, who's not in form, but then He's only got 3 goals himself, so you wonder.
I'd say this. I'd say he's 27. He's coming up to 28 this year. I'm just looking at the stats now in the league for Juve. This season, played 11, got 2 goals. Last season, played 33, got 11 goals. Season before that, played 30 games, got 5 goals. Season before that, actually had a buy and played 33 and got 22 goals. But other than that, I'm like, I wouldn't bother based off this.
I think if we're going for someone like him, it basically admits that we're not going to go for the likes of Haaland or Mbappe.
I think it depends because again, he's 27, so I doubt you're bringing him in to say, oh, we want you to be the new starter for Firmino, we're going to slap him on the bench. But depth, like, let's say we sold Origi, I think that would be the perfect Origi replacement.
It depends how much it costs, but
yeah. It entirely would depend on price, but if he was happy to come in and sit on the bench,
an option, yeah.
I'd feel better about bringing on Dybala over Origi if we had him. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, on that, apparently FSG are prepared to back Klopp with a bunch of transfers this summer, so we shall see.
I think they have to. I think they would lose the fans if they say no. If they don't put their hands in their pockets this summer,
and it's clear we're going to need to start thinking of a rework. At least start on it now.
It's clearer than ever because not only has Firmino been slipping for 2 seasons, but this season Mane's fallen off the face of the earth. So
we get
big
injured.
Time, got to do something.
We get a lot of injured players long term.
I mean, I feel like that needs looking at as well because all these injuries are coming in training. What is going on in Liverpool training?
Hopefully they will sort that out as well. I mean, granted, we've never really had this issue before, so I don't think they've suddenly changed it. But maybe the training's intensive, but over the course of a normal season, there's more time between games, and maybe the training's that intensive when the games are coming thick and fast. And because it's been a bit of a condensed Premier League season, with sometimes 2 games a week for quite a while, not just over Christmas, maybe it's all too intense, which is prompting these injuries.
Well, something I read a long time ago, don't know how true this is, that's why I haven't mentioned it, because it could just be someone chatting shit. But apparently the medical staff that we had, rather the medical team that we had, because we never really, essentially, because we never really had many injuries, we let them go and got, I guess, a cheaper option or a cheaper team. And apparently it's now biting us in the arse.
That's classic FSG, though.
So, I mean, I don't know how true that is. I could be waffling, but that's what I read a while back. We had a certain medical team. We never really got that many injuries. They must have been, I imagine, costing us a fair bit, or at least from FSG's point of view. So we got rid of them and tried to get a cheaper solution.
I remember we brought someone in from Arsenal, I'm sure.
Recently?
Or it was the other way around. We sold someone to Arsenal. Maybe last year or the year before. I know we had chief medical staff either went to Arsenal or came from Arsenal. There was some sort of goings on, either a couple of seasons ago or last season. But again, it wasn't something I was paying that much attention to, so I can't really talk about it.
I'd say I don't know, obviously it's just rumours and rumblings, but I would say, obviously everyone's noticed this. Obviously we noticed it, all the fans have noticed it. Liverpool aren't stupid. They'll be sat there coming into the season going, what the hell happened?
My biggest concern is the goalkeeper. All our keepers get injured in training.
How? Honestly, I don't know
quite
how.
Severely as well, by the looks of it, because Kelleher's been out for a while, and he's I'd
love to know what they're doing. I don't understand if they got injured, if bloody Salah hit it at 120 miles an hour and broke someone's hand or something, but it's what are you doing with your feet so much in training that's causing these issues? But,
I've seen a training session, because they upload them sometimes to the YouTube channel, and they do dive like they would in a normal game.
But that's how every keeper trains, so I don't think that's
other than that,
that can't be it.
I have no clue.
Plus, fair enough if they were injuring shoulders and whatever, but it's they're pulling hamstrings or they're getting groin injuries and thigh injuries, and you're what are you doing? What are you doing in this training?
What are you doing?
I don't know what Kelleher's is, but Ali's one, or at least his initial one, was his shoulder.
Yeah, but he's always getting injured.
Right, I was going to say two things that I very quickly wanted to cover before we round up. I want to say, obviously, Arsenal's the next game.
Right.
Arsenal away just had quite a decent performance against the Spurs side, who, I mean, to be fair, have literally saw Liverpool's performance this year and go, you know what? We like that. Yeah. So, Spurs haven't been great themselves, but Arsenal have been, considering where they've been, Arsenal have looked decent recently, so I don't think it's going to be a tough game. Liverpool really have to step up for Arsenal, because otherwise Arsenal will punish them.
There's also an Arsenal without Aubameyang that beat Spurs, so
caused a kick-off.
That's a little scary as well.
Aubameyang's a good player. He's also a forward who's a captain. I'm not saying.
Keep an eye out.
So I'll say score predictions. Christ, I'm gonna say 2-2. There's going to be goals.
That's a lot of goals.
I mean,
that's too many goals.
I think there's going to be goals in an Arsenal game, to be fair.
Yeah, but what way? That's my worry. I feel like 2 goals is a lot for us at the moment.
It is, but the thing is, I can see them scoring 2 goals, and I don't want to say Liverpool will lose, so I have to therefore suggest that Liverpool will score 2 goals.
Yeah, that's fair. I might have to do the same here, but I'll go. Even though after everything I've just said, I'm going to say 2-1 to Liverpool, just because I don't want to say Liverpool will lose, but I feel like Arsenal are going to get our goal at least. Can't see us keeping a clean sheet here. But I want Liverpool to win, so I'm just going to say 2-1.
Yeah, I'll go for 2-1 as well.
Okie dokie. Right, and so shortly after that is the Champions League, and I also wanted to say, so far...
Are you going to ask us predictions on that one?
Well,
we don't even know where we're going.
No, I just wanted to say PSG are through, Liverpool are through, Dortmund are through, and Porto knocked out Juve to go through. So let me have a think. So Chelsea are playing Atletico.
That could go either way.
Chelsea had a 1-0 away win there.
Yeah,
are you going to ask what the scoreline is for Chelsea and Atletico at the moment?
No. I'm just going through. So, Chelsea are in a good position, but that could go either way. To be fair,
Bayern are shooing.
Yeah,
City are shooing.
Bayern are definitely through. Yep. City are definitely through. Atalanta lost 1-0 to Real Madrid, so I feel like it's possible. You'd expect Madrid to go through, but that's not a given at all. Anything can happen there. So you're looking at Bayern Munich. So in the pot now, PSG, Liverpool, Dortmund, Porto, effectively Bayern and City. I don't know. I feel like the rules of playing teams for your own country and things, I believe it's got. I think that goes out the window now. I think it's just a free for all. I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. If I'm correct, Spurs drew City at this stage. 2 years ago now? They
did, and they think what was it? They pulled off a miracle against City, and then they pulled off a miracle against Ajax.
Yeah,
to get to the final. But we had Origi, so it's fine. So I just wanted to say.
Who do we want?
I just wanted each of your best case scenario and worst case scenario.
Okay, I can't see us differing too much here, but I'll go best case scenario, Porto.
I agree. I would definitely want to draw Porto.
If we could somehow also in that group get Dortmund and Madrid, that would be great. Just so that we can avoid the big boys. Worst case scenario,
Bayern.
And when I say that group, by the way, that's because, assuming you know how it works, it's split.
Yeah. So the winner of those, we play the winner of Dortmund, Madrid if they end up against each other.
Yeah. And then worst case scenario, I think I'm honestly torn. I don't know whether I think I'd rather play Bayern Munich than City. City knows, at least with Bayern Munich, there's the chance of it's something a little bit different. We might get away with it. I honestly can't see us beating City. So they're the ones that I don't want to draw, but Bayern are also up there as worst case. So yeah.
Granted, it's horrible. I mean, Bayern Munich have been steamrolling everything. City have obviously had good results against us this year, but I mean, we have had good results against City in the past. We have done City in the Champions League, but also City are absolutely flying at the moment. And PSG just absolutely trampled Barca and have Mbappe, and Dortmund have got Haaland. So it's not a great mix of.
I will say as well, is even though Porto's best case scenario, that's not still not easy sailing. Like they did not.
To be fair, when you're in, was it the last 8 of the Champions League?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not really much hiding.
That would be interesting as well, because do you know who's at Porto at the moment?
No.
Marco Grujic.
Don't know if he'd be allowed to play. He's on loan.
Depends what the contract is. The loan contract.
Come on, Gladbach. Knock City out. Come on. You can do it.
You know, who knows? Anything could happen in the Champions League.
You can do it. So yeah, I'd certainly favour drawing Porto. To be fair, above all, I'd want to avoid Bayern Munich. I really hope City get Bayern Munich. That'd be phenomenal.
That would be
a good fixture as well.
I'd say City draws Bayern Munich, and maybe Madrid or Dortmund get PSG.
Yep, I'd go with that.
That'd be a nice thing to happen.
we could do it getting nice. I'll be honest. We're not having the best season, so
we could do it being nice.
But
I'd take
bring
Madrid.
You back down to earth. Remember our FA Cup fixtures.
But look, this is where we get the look, though.
I mean, to be fair, we did have Leipzig. I mean, that could have gone a hell of a lot worse.
It could have.
Could have gone a hell of a lot better as well.
I feel like it was fairly middle of the pack. I mean, I'm glad we avoided a lot of teams in and around them. So I think next time we probably see the viewers, we would have seen the Arsenal game, and we would have known who were playing in the Champions League and watched the first match against them, whether that's home or away.
And knowing if any of our players get injured on international duty again.
Christ, could be season over. I mean, it's been season over 7 times this season, but it could be season well and truly over by the time we're back.
Wow. What a statement to end on.
Or, to be fair, it could be. We could be 4-0 up, first round of the Champions League. Top 4's back on. Champions League last 4 is on, and it could be all hunky-doos. We don't know.
So we'll see you next time for either, get your votes in now, hunky-doos, or season well and truly over.
Oh. On that bombshell, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.